For 8 long years, Brad Pitt said nothing. No defense. No explanation. No attempt to shape the narrative that followed the most painful collapse of his life. While headlines debated blame and loyalty shifted in public view, Brad chose silence. But in 2025, after nearly a decade of legal wars, broken family ties, and a $500 million vineyard battle, he finally spoke. And what emerged wasn't anger, it was quiet exhaustion. It all began in 2003 on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Brad Pitt was still married to Jennifer Aniston. Angelina Jolie was fresh out of a marriage to Billy Bob Thornton. Their chemistry ignited the tabloids. By 2005, Brad's marriage ended, and when he was photographed in Kenya with Angelina and her son Maddox, the world decided the story for them. Over the next decade, they built what many called Hollywood's most iconic global family. Maddox from Cambodia. Zahara from Ethiopia. Pax from Vietnam. Then Shiloh, followed by twins Knox and Vivian. To the public, they were a symbol of unity and purpose. Behind closed doors, the pressure of fame, constant travel, and raising 6 children under a microscope quietly eroded what looked unbreakable. In 2008, they bought Château Miraval in France, a $28 million sanctuary that became both their family refuge and the home of a booming wine empire. They married there in 2014 in a private ceremony with only their children present. For a moment, it felt like stability had finally arrived. 2 years later, everything shattered. In September 2016, Angelina filed for divorce. Just days earlier, a private flight from France to the US had erupted into an argument that spilled into federal investigation. Allegations were made. Brad was investigated by the FBI and Child Services. No charges were filed. But the public damage was already done. Custody shifted. Visitation became supervised. And an 8-year custody war began. Brad later admitted that 2016 became his turning point into sobriety. While he worked to change his life, the emotional distance between him and his children only deepened. Maddox eventually testified in court in ways not favorable to Brad. Pax later made a private online post calling Brad an awful person, saying the children lived in fear, words that quietly shook the world when they leaked. Shiloh legally removed Pitt from her name in 2024. Vivian began using only Jolie professionally. Knox, still a minor, vanished from Brad's public life entirely. One by one, the family he once carried down red carpets slipped out of reach. Behind the emotional devastation, an even colder war raged, Miraval. Brad and Angelina once owned the French estate equally. But in 2021, Angelina sold her share without notifying him to a company owned by a Russian billionaire. Brad sued, claiming betrayal and financial sabotage. Angelina countered that Brad had tried to silence her with an NDA. By 2024, the dispute had exploded into an international legal battlefield involving corporate law, alleged malice, and demands for millions in damages. The home where they once exchanged vows became a courtroom weapon. Then, in May 2025, after nearly a decade of silence, Brad finally spoke in his first in-depth interview since the divorce. Calm. Flat. Almost numb. He confirmed the divorce had been legally finalized in December 2024. When asked why he stayed silent for so long, he said simply, "I didn't see the point of speaking when everything was chaos." For the first time, he acknowledged the distance from his children. No names. No accusations. Just one quiet sentence that echoed loudly. "I'm always here if they need their father." He avoided defending himself. Avoided blaming Angelina. Avoided reliving the plane incident. He spoke of sobriety, meditation, sculpting, and learning how to live small again. Public reaction split instantly, some saw restraint, others saw avoidance. But for Brad, the moment felt less like a comeback and more like a final chapter. Today, his Hollywood life continues through Plan B, the production company behind Oscar-winning films. In late 2025, he's expected to return to the screen in a major Formula One film alongside Lewis Hamilton. But personally, his life is quieter than ever. He lives mostly in Santa Barbara, sculpting, gardening, and staying unseen. Reports in 2025 suggest he is engaged to jewelry designer Ines de Ramon, the first time he's allowed someone into his heart since the collapse of his family. Angelina continues her global humanitarian and filmmaking work. Her children remain close to her. None have returned to Miraval. For Brad, that truth lingers heavier than any lawsuit victory ever could. 8 years of silence finally ended. The legal battles may be closing. But the real ending, the one that matters most, may be the one he cannot repair. What do you think? Can a family this fractured ever truly heal? If you found this story powerful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Hollywood Unseen, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another real emotional story like this one.